next up, we're going to do our review of Fate Has No Secrets. Much like the Scorpion Clan. So I think we're just going to dive straight in. We're going to keep it militarily efficient. No doubt that will work, because it always does. Andy is going to slap us if we start taking too long on our cards. And yeah. Alright. So first up, we've got a Void Province with a big old 8 province strength, massing at Twilight. Void roll only, which is Unicorn and Scorpion.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Maybe I'm tired. Maybe I'm a little bit delirious, and that's why I'm seeing the innuendo in this card. No. Okay.
Inherendo.
Good.
Okay. Well, that's totally throwing me off. While resolving conflicts at this province, each character counts its combined military and political skill. Anyone have any opinions on this? I don't think it's great. I think particularly for Scorpion, who tend to have quite lopsided.
There's no card on the stream, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Let me pull it up. But okay.
You failed us again, Colm.
No, this is what happens when you take a break.
So this card, right? This is void roll only, so it is only unicorn
And Scorpion.
And the problem with it is that it is void. The void is the most competitive slot in the game. You're up against
Shameful Display
and a pilgrimage, and then theoretically there's another void province. Is it the Anasalasty one, which is also terrible. So you won't play that one either. This one, in theory, is this tank province, and if you can dishonor all their guys like Scorpion like doing, you throw all your throw your fiery madnesses out, and like no one can kind of take this. In theory. But the problem is, it's actually 8 province strength, which is nearly like being 4. As you count twice. So
I'm no mathematician, but I think you're right.
It's just competing with super good provinces. And enough, basically.
Baz, stop eating chocolate.
It's definitely not me. It's Baz. Yeah, this is what happens when we get into hour 3 of the podcast. Yeah, I mean, certainly for Scorpion, it's like 4 province strength, and it's probably helping your opponent more than you a lot of the time, because you get a lot of guys like or 0-4s or 1-3s, or it's not like a sort of balanced set of dynasty characters like some clans have.
Yeah. Dragon or Phoenix would be delighted to see Scorpion playing this.
Yeah, thrilled. Please do. It's an amazing card. Scorpion should instantly drop. Probably Shameful Display for this.
Yeah, absolutely. Lion, I think this makes it just destroys political conflicts for Lion. So
if Phoenix gets Secret Void back from our Cold Dead hands, maybe I'll play it. All right, I think we're too long already. Crisis Breaker, a 3-cost 3 military 1 political. Bushi and another Berserker. So it's a keeper roll only, which is fine for Crab. Action. During a military conflict, if your opponent counts more current political skill than you, choose a Berserker character you control, ready that character, and move it to the conflict. So we saw Crab get the Berserker trait as their seal trait. What does this do for the state of Crab Berserker Zone?
Marvelous. Even on his own, he's great. He was, when I saw him, when I saw he was keeper, despite the fact that Pathfinder's Blade is an absolutely fantastic card, I was lobbying quite strongly for Crab to go keeper for just this reason. I thought that we were only going to see so many personalities in the first cycle, and of everything we'd seen at the time, which wasn't much, I said it's going to be very hard for anyone to beat out this guy. He is maybe arguably trifle understated, but not really. He's perfectly fine. He's a 3-cost 3-1. At worst, you attack with him in military. When your opponent attacks back, You defend with no one. You move him in. You straighten him and move him in. That's good all on its own. All right. If you get Seal of the Crab onto Kasada or another chunky guy, this guy just multiplies that person's value. If you throw a Jade Tetsubo or a Fine Katana or something on him, all of a sudden he's this ever-present threat that's showing up in military conflicts. You can throw a Watch Commander on him. You can show up with that. Incredible. Easily, I think, arguably, certainly, probably Crab's best personality. Just phenomenal. Just really, really good.
Yeah, agreed. Super good card.
Easy, arguably, probably Crab's best card. All right. So perhaps at the other end of the spectrum, Yasuki Taka, 5 cost, 3/4, wily trader, daimyo, 2 glory. Reaction: after a Crab character leaves play during the conflict phase, gain 1 fate. Owen, back at you.
Some people have said he plays better than he looks.
Really?
Which I can kind of agree. He's not a courtier, which is quite annoying. He's slightly understated, which
he is wily trader, the most important keyword in the entire game, I would say.
Daimyo, which might become relevant. Okay, so you kind of want to make him turn 2 at the earliest. You've got a bunch of people who are going to go away. You want to hang around for a few turns and get some value out of him. He's really good in the mirror. Your opponent starts really regretting sacrificing guys. I'm going to give him a go, but I'm not sure the deck is here for him yet. If there is a deck...
It's not just go away. It's go away during the conflict phase.
Yeah,
so it's rather particular. Yeah.
Yeah, I just doing the math on this guy. I don't see how he makes himself worth it. You have to have him around. You have to be very aggressive in battles. Maybe if you find a way to give everybody else on the other opposing board the crab trait, or the crab clan keyword or whatever it is, then yeah. I don't see how he makes up the cost. 5 is a lot, and yeah, I don't see it.
I would give him this. He is our only 4 political character.
That's true. Yeah.
You know.
Okay, that's Yasuki Taka. And if Andy wants some innuendo, his flavor text is: "I find the best use of my mouth is to bargain with them."
Who comes up with this stuff?
Origami Master, a Crane Clan 4-cost character, 1 military, 4 political, who is a Air Shugenja with pride and 1 glory. Action: choose another character you control, move an honored status token from this character to the chosen character. Justin, what do you think of the Origami Master?
Actually, I think the most important word on that character is Shugenja. Right. Actually, I mean, like he's not that bad. He's not nearly as bad as that might seem to make him. Okay, so he's a 4-cost 1/4. So he's basically a province breaker in politics. Pride, which means he's going to honor himself. Only 1 glory, which means even when he does honor himself, you're not getting a huge amount of value out of it. And his action is, he can move honor tokens around, and that's actually quite a bit more interesting. So basically, assuming he wins his political conflict every turn, which he more than likely will, he allows you to honor somebody else, and you can also chain this. So the Origami Master can attack political first conflict, win the conflict, honor himself, and then move that honor token onto another character ready to attack militarily. So he's a bit faster than he appears in terms of tempo, and if you keep him around for a couple of turns, he's going to get you a bit of value. He also helps enable Voice of Honor for Crane, which is becoming actually quite a battle for Crane in certain matchups. Phoenix and Lion can now both honor persons almost as effectively, or in some cases even more effectively than Crane. So Voice of Honor has become a much riskier play, and this guy kind of helps restore the balance to a degree to Crane in that particular struggle. Shigenja is very, very welcome because it opens up another character who can support Cloud the Mind, which is becoming more and more relevant and more important for every clan with every pack that gets released, actually. So overall, he's not as good as Guest of Honor. What are the 4 costs to Crane play? I've just got Guest of Honor, and it begins and ends there.
There's
they
another
have another Shigenja.
who gives.
That's right. They have. Yeah, and he is not great. He is not great at all, and I could see this guy instantly replacing that character. Unfortunately, that does mean you are switching out a Shigenja for a Shigenja, which is making Cloud the Mind a bit harder to play.
Although together they work relatively well because one gives honored to a character about to play, and then you draw a card.
Absolutely. The issue I think you're running into there is that you're playing 2 4-cost characters that don't actually do an awful lot on the board. Yeah. When you compare them to other clan characters around the 4 costs, if like you compare them to the Witch Hunter, to the Neat Master, to the Prodigy of the Waves, those are characters that hit the board and command the board instantly. And with those 2 guys, you're actually looking for a combo of 2 4-cost characters to kind of boost each other up. So. Yeah, I mean, in a vacuum, I think he's better than the current 4-cost guy they have. So I guess that's a plus. But he's not. He's a decent character, not really on a par with what other clans have been receiving. And yeah. So.
Asahina Storyteller was who we were. I remember. Okay. Any other thoughts on Origami Master? No. All right. Itinerant philosopher, Dragon Clan 1/1 for 2 with 2 glory, a monk, and action. While this character is participating in a conflict, discard the Imperial favor. Choose an opponent's participating character with 1 or more attachments by that character. Baz, how does this monk help the monk deck, or is the deck still ways away?
It does feel like it's a bit of way away. This is a monk, but a 2-cost character with 1/1 doesn't feel like the kind of thing that you're looking for. We already have the Seeker Initiate, who again is a 2-cost 1/1 with a pretty good ability. Like when you win the ring, you get to look at top 5 cards and pick a card, and isn't really seeing play just because the stats aren't doing it. And in this case, the ability going along with it does require the Imperial favor. Even then, the effect is quite similar to the Knit Adept. So you're going to bow another character. This is obviously the reverse, where with the Knit Adept, you want to attach the attachment to the Adept, and then bow it to bow someone without an attachment. The Itinerant Philosopher is the opposite way around. You may actually want to attach an attachment to an opposing character so you can discard the favor and bow them. But the Philosopher doesn't quite hit the same numbers as the Adept. I mean, you're going to be playing this because you're looking for more monks. I want to play around with more monks. But no, I have to admit, I'm not too impressed by this character yet.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts on Itinerant Philosopher? No.
I have one thought, and it's the theme that's coming up of discarding the favor for a powerful action. I like that they have put such a thing on a cheap card. I think that's a good way to go in design. It gives you options, and I think they've overcosted her at 2, or understated her. I think that, or him, or is it him or her? I can't really even tell.
Has long hair, so it's probably him.
Probably a him, yeah.
Okay, I think they've
It's how Dragon roll.
They've missed the stats on him ever so slightly, but I like that the ability is on a cheap card. But having said that as well, you are never going to be able to use multiples of this guy in the same turn because you can only get the favor once. So it's an interesting way to do things. If you have more of the favor changing hands within one turn, then this guy could be really good. I'd like to see if that becomes a thing, actually. But I do like them designing around the Imperial favor. That's cool.
Yeah, and you're probably not going to even want to use the ability, because if you use the ability, then Agasha Sumiko is going to be bowing at the end of the conflict. So, I mean, there might be a deck down the line, and having a way to spend the favor could be really cool. Like, you can basically bow out anyone with this, because Dragon are going to have an attachment. So
he could be he could be an amazing solo defender, a high kick, and then his ability, and then that's any two units. Well, one with an attachment, one anything, and I mean he's a pretty stout defender on his own.
It'll be a fun deck, but I don't think it's going to be a good deck for a while.
Maybe not. Yeah.
All right, I'm just saying that I was ready to move on, and Andy stretched the conversation out for another few minutes. So, and he's complaining about going to bed late. All right, Miwaku Cabe Guard, a 1-cost 1/0, 2 glory, Bushi with pride. Pretty straightforward, Andy.
Amazing, just like so solid as a 1-drop. I mean, he's a 3/2 basically. He's super good. I mean, he's gonna.
Will he be?
Excellent card. Excellent.
Will he be getting the fate to sort of? Will you put fate on this guy? I would have thought he sort of gets pride and then goes away. So he's never really he's never really a 3/2.
No, he will be a 3/2. So he's going to be a 3/2 because you're going to be using for greater glory, or you're going to be using something that's going to keep him in play, or he's just a super cheap body that gets honored and gives you. I mean, he's going to give you some honor. He's got 2 glory. I just think he's a good card. He's flexible. And you can just use him. You can use him to get the favor. Travis is saying, it's basically one fate to put very good pressure on the favor. So,
yeah, looks really solid. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I don't know. I'm not sure I like too many cheap guys, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, great for line as well. Just in every way, he sort of ticks all the boxes, right?
Absolutely.
He does.
Having this guy at the 1 slot, I mean, you have a really good choice if you want to put a good 1-drop in there.
Okay. Speaking of cards that work well, we have the Master of Keisei Toshi, a 2 military 4 politics for 4 cost, 1 glory, Earth Shugenja for Phoenix. Reaction: after the conflict phase begins, choose a ring. While that ring is contested this phase, non-spell events cannot be played. Justin. Oh, Baz, do you want to have a bit of outrage before Justin underplays how good this card is?
I'm going to set the tone for Justin, but am I wrong here, or is this basically a +1 military guest of honor? Go.
You're wrong. It's not a +1 military guest of honor. Okay, so it is a take on the guest of honor. In some ways it's worse, in some ways it's better. Obviously the stats are better, 2/4 instead of 1/4. The ability requires you to make your determination at the start of the conflict phase. So when you're going first, the character is significantly better because you get to the first conflict, so you can basically determine the terms that you're engaging on. Like if you've got a Haughty Magic in the Master of Keisei Toshi, you can just lock one conflict out for an entire turn. I mean, they won't be able to play anything, and they probably can't oppose you in terms of force. So there's that. So the downside is that when you are not the first player, you are handing a considerable amount of decision-making process over to your opponent. So they can choose potentially to, there are too many potential variables to go into it. But the situation is that you're giving an awful lot of decision power to your opponent because you have to make the decision first. The next thing that runs against the Master of Keisei Toshi is her cost. So she is a 4-cost Shugenja, and Phoenix already have Isawa Atsuko, the Prodigy of the Waves, and the Fearsome Mystic. And all 3 of those cards have a much more measurable and consistent effect on the board than the Master does. So if the Phoenix continue to develop a theme of ring control and ring manipulation, then I think the Master will absolutely go into that deck type and will probably be a key part of that deck type. For the time being, I just don't see her being able to force her way into Phoenix lineups because the characters we already have at that cost are just better. They're just better. Like Atsuka, for example, like the Fearsome Mystic. So I mean, actually, a lot of this has to do with Isawa Keide as well, because the Phoenix have quite a significant theme of fate denial and fate removal. The Fearsome Mystic directly synergizes with that because you can remove fate she removes fate as an action. You've got Keide who removes fate. You've got Atsuko who synergizes with void challenges. You've got the Prodigy who wants water and who is just the best Phoenix personality. The Master just isn't going to break her way in.
Don't you get to pick the ring though? So I mean, the Master Geisei Toshi does work with all of those.
You get to pick the ring, yeah, I know, absolutely. But I mean, the thing is that because the board state in any given game can vary enormously, like whether you're ahead on the board, whether you're behind on the board. If you're making that determination at the beginning of the conflict phase before pre-conflict actions have been taken. Oh God,
you're right.
Before
it's not a guest of honor.
No,
it counts for every time it's that ring, so she doesn't even have to be in the conflict. So if you can keep making it void all the time with Keide, it's like, oh my, this. I can see why you're not playing it. This card's busted.
No, it's while that ring is contested, the ring itself, not the element. So it's the ring itself. You have to name a specific ring.
Yeah.
So, for example, like if you name the air ring. Okay, if you name the air ring, only while the air ring is being contested would she work. If you name the void ring. If you name the void ring, actually, that's the much more pertinent example. If you name the void ring, it would only work while you were contesting the void ring. If you had Keide in an air conflict, the air ring would gain the void symbol. But it would still be the air ring. So you have to choose the ring specifically that's contested.
Or you can switch the ring that's being contested, and then it works.
Yeah, potentially. So, I mean, but the thing is, like John is saying, he's unclear why I feel it gives your opponent too much of a choice. Yes, you name the ring you want to win. You certainly, you absolutely can do that. When you're going first, you can basically name a ring and go and take it. When you're going second, that's when things get a lot more cloudy because, as I said, because there's so much going on the board in any given situation that you may not be in a position.
They're probably not going to declare an attack on the.
I'm not saying she's a bad character. What I'm saying is that she just doesn't. Yeah, she's not a bad character. She's not, but she's just not going to break her way into Phoenix lineups. The Phoenix forecast again.
She's actually broken.
Just bad.
They have more broken characters.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first. Justin doesn't like her. She's going to be broken.
Phoenix can't see your guest of honor from all the way up there where their characters are.
She's not a guest of honor.
No, she's not. She's not guest of honor.
She's not a guest of honor. So, I mean, she's perfect. I mean, she's perfectly fine. She's perfectly good. But her effect, it's very, very hard to measure the effect. She doesn't have a necessarily direct effect on the board. And that's what the current Phoenix drops excel at. They are board domination characters. And she doesn't do that. So she's, I mean, there will absolutely be a different deck for her. But she just doesn't seem, certainly from my perspective, she doesn't fit into the Phoenix archetypes at the moment.
What are you doing now?
Yeah.
She does help deny air in a dishonor deck, which makes basically that gives her a slot at some point. But I will also say she's horrific at backing up the haughty magistrate.
Yeah, no question there. And I mean,
you basically can't do anything other than cloud the mind.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also worth noting. Like a discussion of her wouldn't be complete without also taking into account the spells that you can actually play, the spell events that you can actually play. The main one that's actually going to affect a conflict is Supernatural Storm. After that, I am pretty sure you are getting into weird support cards. I suppose you've got Display of Power, which you're using defensively. You're using defensively and not defending. Benton's Touch, actually, that's the other one. Benton's touch against the waves. Well, if you're playing against the waves, like if she goes into conflict, you're almost never going to be using against the waves anyway, because no one can really affect the board. So the two big ones would be Benton's touch and Supernatural Storm. So those are the events that you can play. Both of which do the outcome, but you yourself are locked out of every other event type. So, it's, I think she's a really, really complex and difficult card to analyze. But as I said, I just don't see her breaking into Phoenix lineups at the moment because her effect isn't direct enough, and not just directly applicable enough to board control, which is what the current Phoenix 4-drops are all about. So that is, yeah. So I mean, she's perfectly fine. I just don't think she's quite.
Okay, we've had our fun, Justin. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Good.
It's just so easy. But amazing artwork and flavor text. So
flavor text marvelous.
Maybe that's a reason to play her. There are strict rules regarding the behavior of guests. There have never been any guests.
Slight non sequitur. They could have worded that better. Anyway.
Always got to downplay the Phoenix cards, Justin.
Absolutely.
Except Master of the Waves.
All right.
Prodigy.
Or Prodigy of the Waves. Prodigy.
Yeah. Who actually, in fairness, I did underplay her. I thought she was very, very good, and she is so much better than that. She's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
How about Henshin Disciple, Justin? A 2/2 for 3, 2 glory, a monk, and a scholar. When you have claimed or are contesting the air ring, this character gets +2 political. The earth ring, this character gets +2 military. And when it's contesting the fire ring, it gains pride.
Yeah, so it's another really difficult, complex card to analyze. Okay, so we'll start with the basic stuff. 2/2 stats for 3 is not great at all by any stretch of the imagination. Monk is an underused keyword. Scholar means very little now, but gets much better after pack 6, if rumors are to be believed. 2 glory is about standard for Phoenix, but does mean that if he gets dishonored, he's down to a 0. So, all in all, his stats and keywords or traits, aren't all that impressive. Okay, so now on to the text box. So while you have claimed or are contesting the air ring, the character gets +2 politics. Okay, so basically what this means is that this character is there are a couple of okay, so this narrows it down to political air. So it's political air is where this character is good when he is contesting, if he is contesting it in the conflict himself. So that narrows it down quite significantly. Similarly, for the earth ring, it is military earth is where he is good. For the fire ring is dodgy as hell no matter what you're doing, because you can never be guaranteed to win a conflict, or it's very rare that you can be guaranteed to win a conflict. So that's quite a risky play, in my opinion. With that, so basically, he's good at contesting political air, military earth, and fire is going to be iffy. Things switch around if you contest. He gains. Okay, so that's one level of them. That's one level of the card. Just looking at what he can contest himself. If you have other conflicts where you contest, say you contest and win earth politically, then you have a guy who is pumped up in military for your military conflict or to defend a military conflict. So he gets better when you've claimed those rings outside those conflicts. So from that point of view, his stats are actually more than reasonable and he gets a lot better. Now, the next wrinkle to him is that the 3 rings that he contests, air, earth, and fire, are currently the rings that Phoenix is arguably the least interested in. Phoenix are contesting water and void, in my experience, most often at the moment. So he then slots into a position in between what the decks are mainly kind of doing. The next wrinkle is Know the World, because Know the World allows you to claim a ring and then switch rings in and out. So so that obviously that opens up quite a lot of potential and possibility. Again, you have to have a ring claim, so it's going to work in your second conflict. So I mean, there's really a huge amount going on with this guy. Again, for the moment, I don't think he's there. I don't think he's going to break into Phoenix decks. He lacks the Shigenja keyword, which is vital, and there isn't enough monk support to make him worth dabbling in monk cards from Dragon. So really, really interesting card, really complex, produces lots of complexity and decision points for both you and your opponent, but at the moment, just not quite there.
Any other thoughts on from anyone else on Henshin Disciple?
I will say Intimidating Hida is really good, and primarily because he's a 3-cost 4/2. So from that point of view, he's got great stats. Because if you pick the right ring to do, he's just really, really good.
Yeah.
If it isn't, I think he is. Travis saying arguing for the Dishonor deck for him. I think he's good in that. But yeah, I think he's got good solid stats, and when he gets going, he's pretty good. He's pretty chunky guy. I don't know if Phoenix needed another chunky guy, but he's there as an option if they want him.
All right.
Yeah, he's not really doing a lot. He's just having some pretty goddamn efficient stats. But
Yeah,
I mean,
it's difficult to get him into decks.
Yeah, I mean that's again that is the knock against them at the moment. Phoenix want to be claiming and contesting water every single turn at the moment because all their best characters revolve around it.
I think
so.
Maybe if he was
so, yeah. I mean, he's not a military character, at least not at the moment. I don't know. I'm just not seeing a place for him at the moment. But anyway,
maybe in another clan he'd be top of the roost because I mean, he's pretty amazing. But with Phoenix, I can understand.
Yeah. That's weirdly true. Okay.
Yeah.
If Unicorn had that guy,
say it. Start of York.
Okay. Let's see if this guy is a unicorn card to get excited about. Moto Jorelle, a 5-cost 5/2 Bushi with cavalry, 2 glory, action. Select one. Move this character into a conflict, or move this character home from a conflict. Limit twice per round. Owen, do you want to have a stab at Moto Jorelle?
Yeah, he's probably the second best unicorn card. All in all, I think Border Rider's better, but I think other than that, he's really good. Movement shenanigans are very powerful, and this guy can show up and be like, "Hey, I'm winning," and your opponent could be like, "I throw 10 cards or whatever at this to win this conflict." He's like, "Cool, peace out, I'm home," and you still got him for another conflict. So he's really good. He's genuinely really good. He's good in a way that's uncomplicated, that grants you flexibility, that allows you to use some of the unicorn's strengths, but also retreat from a battle. If something goes wrong, someone doubles down, starts beating you. He's really good. Now, he's 5 cost, but I mean, most unicorn's high cost guys are all questionable on one level or another. So it's nice to see a good unicorn. He's 2 glory, which I'm not super pumped about. If you can honor him and keep him honored, which I have some doubts about, wow, he's 7/4. That's amazing. If you don't, he's 3/0, which is less good. But the flexibility is tremendous. He gets huge work done with Spyglass. Yeah, he's just really good. They can be happy with him as their big unique in a deck and be like, "Yep, out comes Moto Jorelle. He's here. He's gone away. I'm in. I'm out. I'm in again. He's all good fun.
Race from Robin boldly runs away.
Yeah, I like him. He's really good. He's the best unicorn personality in the cycle. Certainly, he's probably the second best unicorn overall. So yeah.
Anyone else like to weigh in on Moto Jorelle?
more cards like this for Unicorn, please. That's all I can say.
Cool. And yeah, he feels like an old school sort of Unicorn Cavalry card a little bit. Sort of
yeah.
Please
yeah,
assign
really.
defenders, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I love the movement shenanigans. I mean, there's so much you can play with here. And the flexibility in this card is really cool. Love it.
Okay, we like them. So, speaking of Imperials, Sappan... I don't know, well, that was actually the last episode if you're watching on YouTube, so never mind. Sappan Ishikawa, a 2/2 for 3. Bushi Imperial, this character gets +1/+1. Each other Imperial card you control. Baz, how are you going to be playing the Imperial deck?
I have no idea, because I think you put together a deck and then see how much Imperial you have in it. But this set has been about a ton of Imperial, and I know every pack we reviewed, and I think pretty much all the different media outlets have gone, this guy's got Imperial. Sappan Ishikawa is going to really like it. So, yeah, I mean, we've seen a bunch of Imperial provinces. We've seen all the Imperial magistrates have it. And we already had, like, the neutrals, the Mia Mystic, the Toma Courtier, Sappan Guardsman.
Does the Imperial favor count as an Imperial card?
No, it's not.
Or it's a token, right? Or
probably a token, yeah.
I don't think it says Imperial on it. So hang on.
Okay.
I'll just check.
Does anyone know who the flavor text alludes to? You are not worthy of her to truly.
K-Day. K-Day.
Yeah.
Damn right.
So are they still engaged, or have they got married at this stage?
They're married. Yeah. Yeah, they got married. They got married in one of the fictions. So K-Day is now a lion.
Oh, cool.
That's like, that's not going to last forever. I'm sure he's going to get himself disgraced. Katie's going to come back to the Phoenix. It's all gonna work out.
Good times. So yeah, for Ishikawa, it's really a question of what do you have in your deck? Are you already running a bunch of Imperial stuff? And if you are, then a 3-cost 3/3 or 4/4 probably is worth it.
How much Imperial do you need?
Lots, as much as you can possibly fit in.
Yeah.
I mean, you need one to make him actually worth his stat line, or actually make him worth his fate. Because he has no ability. Blank 3/3 for 3 fine. One more and he beyond what his fate cost is worth. That's my opinion.
He might go in the Dragon Enigmatic Magistrate deck, where you just have all characters that are odd numbers.
A good question from Travis is actually, he says the better question, does this guy make running Imperial cards worthwhile? No.
No. Yeah, you're not going to play him for that. But I think you'll probably look through a deck and find out you're already playing it. I mean, you've already got your Imperial storehouses. Like, we're all playing those. They'll randomly turn up. We were already talking about how the Imperial Palaces was worth it.
Yeah, but a storehouse turns up and then you blow up like very, very quickly to get your card from it. And that's...
Well, you can hold on for a little bit.
Maybe you blow it up less quickly now, Andy. Hold your horses.
It's very true. But if you're playing so many Imperial cards in your deck, you're going to need those cards from your conflict deck to make yourself win. So,
if you're playing Crab, there is a build of Crab that might consider going, I'll play 3 Atomo Courtier, I'll play 3 Maya Mystic, I'll play 3 Imperial Storehouse, and sure, I'll throw in 3 Ishikawa. And we'll see
your Magistrate as well.
And your
the Magistrate as well. And then, hey, he's suddenly not... He's not terrible. He's chunky,
Not terrible, and you've used half your conflict deck. Half your dynasty deck.
But yeah, I mean, that's like, it's an option. You can consider it. Before I saw some of the personalities, I was certainly considering doing that. If Ishikawa had been in Pack 2, I think Crab would have been running them at more of the tournaments because, some of the cheap guys are actually pretty good. So yeah.
Right, that's Ishikawa. So next up we've got Fair Accord, a 0-cost event. Action during the dynasty phase, discard the Imperial favor to gain 2 fate. It's a crab. It's crab and it's 2 influence cost. Owen, what are your thoughts on this discard the favor event for crab?
Okay, so all the discard the favor cards are meant to have a really powerful effect. This theoretically is a really powerful effect. In practice, it's not. This card is terrible. But it's a fate gain card. And as such, they're going to be really cautious about printing it because this card says, hey, you gain some fate. But here's the issue. It's during the dynasty phase. So basically, you're like, okay, ideally, you wish to pass first. Ideally. Because you get a fate and you deny a fate to your opponent. Okay, which is kind of a two-faced thing. But this card does instead is it goes, I will pitch the favor and gain 2 fate. And then your opponent goes, cool, I pass. So you've lost your opportunity.
The great equalizer.
So When is this card good? This card is good when I have the favor. When I do not care about having the favor. When I have this card in hand, and when my opponent has already passed, and I'd still have actions to take. That's really, really limited. How many copies of this are you playing? How many do you ever want to see in your hand? You know? You never want to see any in your opening hand. If you draw it, God, that's a terrible draw, especially if you're bidding one, because you can't use it until the next phase, much like the issue with contingency plan. It's a bad card. Yeah.
On the flip side, if you lose Ring of Earth on the defense, it is great for the card that gets pitched from your hand.
Yes. It's a bad card.
Is it a drop bear card?
Breaking the game. Pardon?
Is it a drop bear card?
Could be. Yeah, that's a fair.
You can do it during the bloody dynasty phase. You can't just pitch it. You could be like, cool, I gain 2 fate. Awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, like as your first action, you play this and gain 2 fate, and then you pass, and then you've got loads and loads of fate for dropping bears. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of things that this could.
I think the argument Owen puts forth is a pretty convincing one for me.
I think it's pretty sound. Yeah. I agree.
I understand. Now it is potentially broken, but I just don't see a way for you to reliably get the favor early enough. You know, it could be broken thing because it gains you fate. I can absolutely see that argument. That's probably why it doesn't give you more fate. That's probably what it has the cost it does, but it's a bad card. You know,
yeah, I think
3 would be too much.
Levy. And Levy doesn't see a lot of play currently because you don't often get too much out of it.
Would you rather censure or that card? Basically, because that could be your choice.
All right. Yeah. Young Harrier, 1 for 1 glory. Bushi Scout Shinobi for the Crane. Action, dishonor this character. Each Crane character you control cannot be dishonored until the end of the phase. Justin, what are your thoughts on the Young Harrier?
It's a 1/1 for 1 conflict character. It's Shinobi, which will make Dave super happy. Doesn't do much in Crane currently, and as an action dishonor. I mean, I think the action it's fine. I'm not massively overwhelmed by this card, although actually. Until the end of the phase. Okay, no, that makes it way better. So you pop this girl at the start of the conflict phase, user action, and then your Crane characters can't be dishonored for the entire conflict phase. That's actually a lot better than I thought at first glance. So she's a turbo-powered steward of law, who dishonors herself, basically makes herself a 0/0, but protects all your other Crane characters. Yeah, that's a really interesting one. You want to play her onto a developed board or a reasonably developed board. So she's probably a turn 2 onward play. Obviously, she's going to switch on your opponent. If your opponent is playing for shame, she's going to switch on your opponents for shames while leaving. While when you play yours, it gives them the option to dishonor or bow. So that's maybe a small knock against her. If you're looking, if not being dishonored is a big deal for you, yeah, I think she's very strong. And a 1/1 for 1 conflict character is always good. They're perfectly fine.
With 1 glory, the 1 glory is a rarity. They're normally 0.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I mean, you can drop her in at the end of a conflict phase to steal the favor. So yeah, I mean, she's a bit squirrely, but yeah, probably in direct conflict with Steward of Law, but she's good. I would not be averse to playing her in a deck for sure.
And looking at the wording of Steward of Law, am I right in saying that she will stop any of your honored characters from becoming non-honored, as in they can't weigh a Scorpion and honored Crane?
Yeah, so I think so.
She might be a good choice against Scorpion, just to stop them doing anything. No dishonoring for an entire phase. obviously
be-
you've got that one young Harry already, but
That might be why
brutal.
all of the Scorpion characters in the chat, or Scorpion players in the chat, are all saying that she's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
if you walk
obviously,
into a
I
shameful
think
display, you play her and it shuts it down.
It's like, hooray!
no, it doesn't. No, she doesn't do that because if you walk into a
defender gets
shameful
first
display, defender gets first action, and even if the defender didn't shameful on the first action, you play her, and then your opponent goes, "I guess I better shameful now," and uses it.
Yeah.
So you'd have to play her before you declared your attack.
Yeah.
which is fine.
Which is
Yeah,
also
I mean,
fine. Yeah.
Not that bad.
Yeah. So, potentially devastating against Scorpion. I can't imagine they'd ever be happy to see her. Not so good against other clans compared to Steward of Law, probably. So, she's niche.
Good in the
but,
tournament meta based on that?
Yeah, I think she could absolutely make it into tournament meta because of that. Just with the prevalence of Scorpion at the moment. So
she does have the
that one.
Shinobi trait.
And is arguably
she
the
could
best Shinobi that's been printed?
Possibly.
Yeah.
But notably,
second best.
At one influence, she can be splashed by Scorpion, which may actually help develop that Shinobi deck if it ever gets anywhere.
True.
I mean, there is a fine tradition of Crane getting better Scorpion cards than Scorpion. Not that I'm bitter. Okay, test of skill. Seeker roll only Crane card, which they have a Seeker. All right, in saying
They are Seeker currently, yeah.
they're
They're
Seeker
Seeker.
of Air. So it's a 1-cost event. Test of skill. Name a card type. Reveal the top 3 cards of your conflict deck. The top 4 cards if you control Duelist character, and add up to 2 revealed cards of that type to your hand. Discard the rest. So look at 3 or possibly 4 and add 2 for 1 fate. Baz, what are your thoughts on test of skill?
I really, really like it. With Crane, you're probably playing a lot of events, so you're just going to name event, and you're cycling 1 card and straight up drawing another card. So it is going to give you some card advantage. The 3 cards versus 4 cards, if you've got a duelist, does slightly increase card quality. You've got the Doji Challenger Kakita Kaizen already out there, and in theory the Seal of the Crane can give you another duelist trait, but I'm not sure if it's worth it. The dream scenario that we already talked about was with Kakita Yoshi, where you've got your test of skills reduced to 0, and then you're just able to keep popping them, drawing into more test of skills and drawing up tons of cards. I like it. I think it is probably worth spending the 1 fate to get into more cards. You're going to improve the quality, and you're going to be up a card at the end of it. I like it a lot. It's a much better version of
The Perfect Gift.
The Perfect Gift, yeah.
Any other thoughts on test of skill?
Good card. It's card draw. It's
Super good.
Super good.
Art is homage to an older card, Test of Stone, I think.
Okay. So next we've got the Stone of Sorrows, a 1/1 attachment for 2, which is Dragon. A Seeker roll only. While attached character is ready, opponent cannot remove or gain fate from rings. Baz, what are your thoughts on the Stone of Sorrows? It's unique also.
It is unique. This one's a pretty big deal. I think this was probably the influencing card that pushed Dragon to pick Seeker at Worlds. What's it actually do? You're spending 2 and you're getting a 1/1. Fair enough. It only works while your character is ready. So you need to stay out of conflicts, or you need to have someone who will keep straightening after conflicts. So you can put it on a Gasha Sumiko if you've got the favor. You could drop it on your Knitting Master if you're willing to keep dropping weapons on them. Which you always are. And the effect basically is that your opponent doesn't get to scoop fate. That's probably 1 fate turn 2, maybe 2 fate from there on. Like, that really, really adds up. And obviously the more fate that's left on rings, the more fate you get to scoop up. It's a pretty big deal. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, and I really, really want to, because this is one of the cards where really you have to kind of play it and test it and see what it's like before you can kind of truly decide if it is worth your while or not. Like, how much fate advantage are you going to get, and is that fate advantage worth it? Probably is the answer. I think. I think Scorpion might be interested in it because they've got a couple of characters like their Zip Soshi that they don't care about anyway. They're never going to be bowing or attacking, and they could just leave the stone on them.
This could be a really good Lion card, potentially. Because Lion are getting into a state where they don't need that much fate. Oh, they're keeper. It's Seeker only. Ah, yeah. There you go. Yeah, there goes that idea.
I think it's really good on Enlightened Warrior. Where slap it on him and you leave him at home until the last conflict of the turn. And every time they pick a ring with fate on it, a lot of the rings are going to have fate on it. They get it. He gets a fate. So that lock is not going away in a hurry.
That's interesting.
And Sumiko's another good pick for this. Because she ain't going to bow when she's attacking. So, if you have the favor. It's a potentially really nasty card. Combine it with the dragon event that puts a fate on each ring or takes a fate away from each ring.
Unfortunately, that particular card... No, it's written in the stars, but it's place one fate on each unclaimed ring with no fate, or remove one fate from each unclaimed ring. So, yeah, it could be a good way to scoop fate off, but it's not a great way to put fate down.
Or prime pump.
Yeah, definitely. Gordo is mentioning Seeker of Enlightenment in chat at the moment. The character who gets +1/+1 for each fate on each unclaimed ring. And starts off as a 1/1, so yeah, that could quickly spiral out of control with just even a single turn of that sticking around.
And all your guys that pay ring to fates, like the monks that pay fate to rings to do stuff. Yeah,
you're guaranteed to get all that back.
Yeah, it's a bit of a savage card.
Until someone let go of it and then gets all the momentum, There's 5 fate on that ring that you've been storing up for a few turns. Oh, I guess I'll let go and steal all that. That's great.
Yeah, if it happens, but I mean, I think it's a gangbuster of a card. I think it's going to make for some very unpleasant situations and possibly a shortage of fate tokens in your game.
Could be, yeah.
They start to accumulate like that. Bring some spares, everybody. Bring some spares.
It's pretty good on Sumiko, Agasha Sumiko.
Yeah.
All right, let's crack on. Seal of the Lion. So it's a +1 military seal, which is 0 cost like the others. Gives the lion symbol and commander trait. Andy, quick thoughts?
Commander trait's nice. If there are any cards other than the new 2-cost personality with the +5 military that requires commander, anything else that keys off commander. Is there anything else currently that keys off commander?
No,
not at the moment. No,
not at the moment. I mean, it's not going to see play because there are too many other better cards. But if commander ever becomes a thing, it could see play.
Story
of +1 military.
Story of all the seals, right?
Yeah.
Consumed by 5 fires, a 5-cost event, which is a fire spell and a seeker roll only. If you control it against your character, remove up to 5 fate from among characters an opponent controls. Pray that your opponent doesn't have any action cancellation. Justin? Or Andy, do you want to go first?
Yeah. No, I love this card.
Yay!
This is exactly what Phoenix should be about. Phoenix should be about ridiculously over the top, incredibly expensive, game-changing actions that go catastrophically right or catastrophically wrong. And this fits the bill. I mean, obviously, it's a crying shame that we can't play it because it's secret roll only.
Otherwise, it's going to straighten all your decks.
Honestly, I'd be kind of tempted. So, obviously, removing 5 fate from among characters your opponent controls. Actually, looking at the card more seriously for a moment, yes, it requires some setup and it requires a few guarantees, because if you spend 5 fate and you then have it countered, you're just going to be the saddest bunny in all of creation. But I mean, but you pretty much do. But with policy debate and censure and stuff like that, Phoenix do have a few tools. I mean, we'll talk about Phoenix but there are tools there to neutral help safeguard it and make sure it does get off. Okay, now removing 5 fate from among characters your opponent controls, that's actually fairly unlikely to ever happen. Because if they've got 5 fate among characters they control, it's probably a lion player who's just played for greater glory, and you've got bigger problems. But what should be noted about this card is it's not just the straight 5 for 5 swap. You're not just paying 5 to remove 5. You're paying 5 to remove 5 plus the fate cost of every single character that has fate on it. So in some glorious, best of all possible scenarios, you could easily be removing 20 fate worth of value from the table with this card. It's completely unplayable. But it's utterly glorious. It's utterly glorious. I'm really looking forward to, is it May or June or something, when we get the supplementary clan rolls. So Phoenix can finally take a Seeker and finally play Consumed by 5 Fires. It's gonna be amazing.
I think this is an amazing Crane card. Because if you actually get to combo it off of Yoshi, Kikiri Yoshi.
Okay. So yeah. Good. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's super cheap, and then you just wreck people with it. It could be really cool.
I mean, they don't have many Shigenja though.
They possibly have enough to run this after the. But it's a gimmick deck. It's a total gimmick deck. It's just it's just to burninate people like Trogdor. It's the Trogdor Crane deck.
Okay, any final thoughts on Consumed by 5 Fires, or will we crack on?
If you play it, just get negated. You get to make a lot of
I love this card. I just love that it exists.
All right.
Yeah, I think when it does go off, you have to raise your fist above your head and then just slam it on the table as hard as you can, so that everything jumps. And then just reach across and sweep your opponent's entire board just off the table. Then pound your chest, and you're allowed to, because you just got consumed by 5 fires off.
As John says, if only it was consumed by 3 fires, it'd be better. All right. Cunning Magistrate, a 2/2 for 3 Imperial Bushi. So it's Scorpion card, so it's a Bushi, not a Courtier. While this character is participating in a conflict, each other character that is dishonored does not count its skill towards the resolution of the conflict. Any thoughts on this, Owen? Maybe
he's a conflict card,
but no influence cost.
No influence cost, so you can't bring him in, because I think a lot of people would actually. Might consider it, probably not, but might. He's interesting. He is. He's not at the top tier of magistrates. If someone's dishonored, their stats are already down, so he matters less. But there are a couple of people he's good against. He's a Bushi. He's Imperial. Like Scorpion are kind of spoiled for expensive conflict guys to spend fate on, so he's probably not going to see a massive amount of play. He's interesting, but if you dishonored someone, they're probably a couple of stat points down already, so he's got lower effect. And Scorpion has a bad habit of dishonoring their own guys. Yep. So Kazada hates him, but kind of sure.
Yeah.
If he has it. They have better high cost, high impact cards they could play.
Yeah.
Not a fan myself.
The stat line also is. I know all the magistrates have the same, but it's particularly uninspiring on him.
Yep. Yeah, I do like the way that Scorpion are getting de facto loyal conflict characters that have no influence costs.
That is
I think that's
cool.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. So another Scorpion card. Another very expensive event. This time it's a 4-cost event. A fate worse than death. Action. During a conflict, choose a participating character. Bow that character. Move it home. Dishonor it and remove 1 fate from it. Until the end of the phase, treat its printed text box as if it were blank, except for traits. So maybe I'll just start on this because I think we talked about this when it got spoiled a while ago, and I was kind of down on it. Having played a bit more and sort of appreciated I Can Swim, and having seen the other cards from the set, and how good we're talking about stuff like something like Cloud the Mind can be, I've probably turned around on this, and I think it probably might replace I Can Swim. I mean, I think something we talked about previously was that, you know, this is good because Scorpion have City of Lies, which I think is kind of just means it's too expensive personally. But any other thoughts on a fate worse than death?
There's a ton of problem personalities, and this one is a straight punch in their face. But if it gets negated, it's hard times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so much
Scorpion
for Scorpion.
Scorpion players seem to love it though. Like John is super happy, Dave is super happy. Yeah, I don't know, but 4. I mean, you know, we're borderline. We're joking about consumed by 5 fires at 5, and that's just it's basically a ridiculous pipe dream. And then you've got this at 4, and this is supposed to be the savior. At least this is supposed to be playable or very, very good. Maybe.
I think it's for sure playable. It's definitely playable. How good it is, I don't know. It's one of those cards. I mean, this is a card that you do not want to be playing on anything that costs less than what, 4, or that has 4 value of fate on it. Because otherwise, you're just not getting enough value out of this card. I don't know. There's only so many targets this thing is going to be put on.
So
If
I
the
know
Holy
in
Magistrates-
the Final of Worlds, the Crane player did say that if I could just have drawn into that, what's the
Noble Sacrifice?
Yeah, Noble Sacrifice. He was just like, there was problem characters on the board. I just needed to deal with that one Spirit Caller, and I'd won the game. This is that problem solver. This is the, oh shit, if I can't deal with that one character, I've lost. This fixes that. That's why I think some of the players are very excited about this card, because they're seeing powerful cards out there, and this is an answer to pretty much everything out there. It's broad, which is probably why it costs so much. It's got very little requirements. Yeah, I can definitely see why I like it. I don't think the Scorpion are as worried about cancellations, because they're the king of cancellations. If something gets cancelled, they're like, I'll cancel your cancel. I can do this all day. Yeah, it might be a little bit more dangerous for people to splash it, but I think Scorpion will be confident enough to have their Forge Edicts and maybe their Censures ready to go if anyone tries to mess around with them.
How many of these do you play in your deck? 2?
2. If it depends on the deck, obviously, but I would be really cautious of how expensive the Scorpion conflict deck is getting, because there are a lot of, if you're playing the deck with a lot of conflict characters, it's a lot of very expensive cards. This is another very expensive card that's going into the conflict deck, so I'd be a little worried.
My conflict deck is very cheap.
Okay.
There's a few 1 costs, but it's pretty cheap. I mean, depends what you're playing, but I mean, I think what appeals to this about it, to me, and I suspect a lot of the Scorpions in chat who are playing a low bidding style Scorpion, is that I Can Swim is often awkward when you're bidding 1. Because you need to not bid 1 to activate it. You need to make sure you've got the Dishonor. I Can Swim is great in a high bidding Scorpion, but not great in this low bidding Scorpion that I think a lot of us are playing. Okay. A Unicorn event. Write them down. 3 influence cost, 1 fate cost. Action: during a conflict, discard the Imperial favor. Set the base strength of the attacked province to 1. Justin, what are your thoughts on write them down?
It's just
Positive.
Okay.
No, don't be positive.
No, sorry, I can't be positive about this. This is a garbage card. This is an absolute garbage card. Okay, so for 1 fate and discarding the Imperial favor, which is incredibly difficult for Unicorn because they have to get the favor in the first place, and they're not very good at that. You get to set the base strength of an attack province to 1. Okay, that's fine. So basically, you're paying 1 cost to discarding the favor to play a Banzai that does not help you win the conflict. So no. This card is awful. And it's 3 influence.
Yeah, 3 influence makes no sense. In theory, it combats disdainful remark.
That's fair, but I just
the best I got.
Yeah,
it's good against the province that is +5 military strength that you haven't had any stronghold.
It sets the base strength of the province to 1. It doesn't actually deal with disdainful.
Oh, I see.
I mean, does it even get probably entrenched or ancestral still get their
they
boost?
still get their +5.
Still get a boost then from entrenched position.
It'll still be 6.
And it doesn't do with the strongholds +X unless you're Unicorn, of course, which is +0, because they need challenge.
I think we tried. I think we honestly did try. It's time to move on.
Yeah.
Disappointing. Okay.
I mean, maybe at some point in the future this gets good. I don't know, but
and it's 3 influence.
They thought this card was really, really good for someone, apparently.
Yeah.
But no other clan that could possibly play this needs it.
So I mean, like the best case scenario is that you reduce the Void Province we were looking at earlier.
The 8 cost.
Massing at Twilight.
But I mean, but basically you're paying 1 fate and discarding the Imperial favor to get +3 or +4 pseudo skill.
Pseudo force. Yeah.
So,
if it was, I actually think this card would have been better if it was set another character's card stats to 1.
Yeah.
So another personality, another whatever, make it 0 fate cost, set a personality's base stats to 1.
At least then it would help you in the conflict.
Amazing.
Yeah, but you're discarding the Imperial favors, so that's a real cost.
Or set their current stats to 1.
Yeah,
just wipe out everything and just make them a 1/1.
Okay.
Anyway,
Waning hostilities, a 1 fate cost event. Reaction: after the conflict phase begins, each player has only 1 opportunity to declare a conflict this phase. It's kind of an interesting one. Owen, what are your thoughts on Waning hostility? Who's going to want to restrict conflict?
I think the tournament organizer in Owen is about to go volcanic.
Okay, so anything that goes, hey, you know what? Let's have let's stretch the game out a bit longer. It's a little bit controversial, but sure, this is a really interesting card from a metagame point of view. There are windows in which this card is massive.
Yeah.
If going second with a clan that's any good at defending, and you play this card, you put your opponent in a really tight spot because they have to attack in, and if you can successfully defend, and some clans can defend and do more than that on their turn, you then get to swing back with perfect knowledge. So that's significant. If you're a clan that only wants to do 1 conflict in the turn, that's pretty amazing. If you're ahead on provinces and you're on, basically, you've broken 3 of theirs, they've broken 2 of yours, and you play this.
Oh, it's devastating.
Wow, it's hard. Wow, it's hard to come back. It's very interesting. I don't know if it's actually going to see a lot of play, because I think people will find this very frustrating and swingy, and maybe one game it sits in your hand, not doing a lot. Another game you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. I think Phoenix might like it in certain circumstances where they're like, hey, let's only do 1 ring each, and let's have Sakune grab a bunch of good rings. It's got uses. It's got It's got scenarios in which it's amazing. I don't know if you're always going to be able to engage with them. It also slows down the game, and I can see people being really annoyed about that because like this game does 3, 4 or 5 turns most games anyway, and going, hey, let's get half as much done in this turn. Yeah, and I mean, I can imagine the salt when your time is called and someone plays this card, and you're like, oh, ooh, the blood pressure could spike dangerously. Yeah, like. We'll see. It's got some stuff going for it. I think it's good if you're good at defending. I think it's good if you're really bad at one conflict type. And you're only doing one conflict type anyway. Yeah, but that probably means that like, yeah, I'm going to be really good at military. You're really good at politics. Let's each only do one this turn. Maybe I came out ahead on that. Maybe I'm better defending politics than I am attacking politics. I think, I think it's going to be a frustrating card. If it works. I think if it works, it's going to be like, ugh. Give you an example. I want you to imagine the flip of this card. How much would that cost? After the conflict phase begins, each player has an additional opportunity to declare a conflict. One that gave everybody 3 conflicts.
That wouldn't work.
Quite a lot more.
That one would be
pretty amazing.
Crazy.
There might be not one ring. One conflict wouldn't have a ring. So.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think we'll see some play in some things. It's going to be tried out. People will be frustrated with it, throw it away. I think some may come up with a deck that can really abuse the card. So yeah,
I think there's an abuse in it with Lion actually. In that they have these bizarre turns where you might have one turn where you want to for greater glory. You just charge everyone into one province because you only get one attack anyway. You for greater glory your entire board. You do all of your effects that get your Uchiakis, your whatevers, your charges, get your guys into the battle for greater glory, everyone. You don't get much of a repercussion from it, and you get huge amounts of fate gain for what you just did, for the small amount of actions you just did. And you set up a next turn of really, really hammering it home.
One good suggestion is you're going second. Your opponent makes a guy. Your first action is pass. Then play this.
Yeah.
At worst, you're losing a province. Your opponent gets 1 ring. And then next turn, you start with 8 + 7, 15 fate.
Yeah. So, I mean, and if you're playing Mirumoto's Fury, you may not even lose a province.
Yeah.
So, I agree. This card could open it. Yeah, this card could open up entire new vistas of strategy and ways to approach the game.
Great card for the game. I think it's a great card for the game.
It'll definitely be a card that people probably don't see coming very often, and when it comes, they'll be picking it up and reading it. I suspect to sort of.
Yeah.
It
can be censured. It can definitely be censured.
Not on
turn one. Not on turn 1.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's it. We're back around to Massing a Twilight. So that wraps up the set.
Wait! I have to justify something because John is calling me out. So he's saying he thinks it's a terrible card for the game, and he's surprised that I don't. It's a card I would play in the types of deck I love. Okay. And those are usually bad. I love Dexter.
So just to say that, so John's saying he's surprised Andy likes it because it's the sort of card that John would play a lot, and those decks that John plays a lot are usually bad for the game, basically.
So me justifying the existence of this card. This card, its very existence manipulates the way players have to think about the game. And this is a game where you have to think about a lot of outs and a lot of things that potentially could happen. And I just think it creates it creates interesting stories for how a game progresses. So it's one of those cards, like this is one of the Eric Dodds, who's the lead designer for Hearthstone. I had a chat with him about a year ago, and he was talking about the way they designed Hearthstone to be a game that they want to create stories for players, so that when they play what was the Yogg-Saron, basically the card that recreates every spell, or does a spell for every spell that you did in the game, you have these mad random moments. You have these things that in the game that create these stories that players talk about. I actually understood then that there's a reason why these kind of cards exist in a game. It's so that people can be polarized one way with or against them. And I think this is one of those cards that will create interesting stories. And I think that's why it has a place in the game.
All right. So that wraps up Fate Has No Secrets. And so we think we'll be back on the 18th of December for our last Dynasty pack. And I think we'll be all relieved to no longer have to do 2 Dynasty packs plus any other news an episode and keep Andy up till midnight.
Yeah, so that'd be nice.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll wrap it up there. We'll leave it. Thank you for there's some impressive chat people who stood with us from the beginning. I don't know how you do it, how you put up with this for so long, but we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And,
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, guys, and good night.
Night, guys.
Nice.
Good night.
Oh, wait. We
Whoa.
need a beaver fact.
Beaver fact.
Oh.
Hold the frickin' phone.
To Google.
Absolutely.
To the beaver
Well,
phone.
basically, I'm asking for I'm going to ask someone to get me the beaver. I picked out the correct beaver textbook for Christmas, and I'm hoping to get one there and have an actual proper bit of research done for some of this stuff, rather than looking up crazy, basically crazy stuff about beavers that like they're told the kids. So one of the other things about the prehistoric beavers was just how big they were, because they were enormous, and like they were much bigger, like about the size of a person. So they presumably made truly terrifying dams. So absolutely, I'm going to dig out some proper beaver facts for the new year.
Excellent.
Much deeper ones,
Well, I'm looking forward to hope Santa brings you that. All right. An actual good night and goodbye this time. And thanks for listening and watching. Bye.
Thanks again, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello.